Hello students in SO3. Today we are going to do a reading activity which is titled Green School in the City, How One Inspirational Teacher is Changing Lives. In this reading activity, I will give you the vocabulary you need to understand the text, and also I will give you some questions to help you better understand the story. So let's start. When you think of the Bronx in New York, green is probably not the first color you think of, but one inspirational teacher and instructor, Stephen Ritz, is doing something to change that. Cuando se piensa en el Bronx de Nueva York, el verde no es probablemente el primer color en el que se piensa, pero un profesor inspirador e instructor, Stephen Ritz, está haciendo algo para cambiar eso. It all began by accident. Stephen was teaching at a school in the South Bronx. Somebody had sent him a box of flower bulbs. Stephen didn't really know what they were, so he hid them behind a radiator in his classroom. Then, one morning there was a moment of real surprise and excitement when he and his class suddenly noticed all the flowers that had grown next to the radiator. Todo empezó por accidente. Steven estaba enseñando en un colegio en el sur del Bronx. Alguien le había enviado una caja de bulbos de flores. Steven no sabía realmente lo que eran, así que las escondió detrás de un radiador en su clase. Entonces una mañana hubo un gran momento de sorpresa y emoción cuando él y su clase de repente se dieron cuenta de todas las flores que habían crecido al lado del radiador. Question: How did the students react to the first plants in their classroom? That gave Stephen an idea. He decided to do something to improve the area where his students live, so he and his class worked on a project in their own neighborhood. They planted flowers and vegetables and managed to transform some depressing spots into green areas where local people could meet. Esto le dio a Steven una idea. Él decidió hacer algo para mejorar la zona donde sus estudiantes viven, así que él y su clase trabajaron en un proyecto en su propio vecindario. Ellos plantaron flores y verduras y se las arreglaron para transformar algunas zonas deprimidas en zonas verdes donde la gente local se pudiese reunir. Next, Steven brought plants back into the classroom. The students planted vegetables in special towers and created an edible indoor wall in the science room. It was a great success. Después, Steven volvió a traer las plantas a la clase. Los alumnos plantaron verduras en torres especiales y crearon un muro de interior comestible en la clase de ciencia. Fue todo un éxito. Questions: Why did Stephen and his students decide to plant flowers and vegetables in areas of the Bronx? What did Stephen's students do in the science room? Although all students under 16 must attend school, in a difficult area like the Bronx, students often miss classes. But thanks to his classroom project, attendance in Stephen's classes went up from around 40% to 93%. The students feel responsible for their plants. They realize they have to water them and look after them every day, so they also see that they mustn't miss school. And with better attendance, the marks go up. Aunque todos los alumnos menores de 16 deben asistir al colegio, en una zona difícil como el Bronx, los alumnos a menudo se saltan las clases. Pero gracias a su proyecto de clase, la asistencia en las clases de Steven subió desde aproximadamente el 40 al 93%. Los alumnos se sienten responsables de sus plantas. Ellos se dan cuenta de que tienen que regarlas y cuidarlas todos los días, por lo que también ven que no pueden perder el colegio. Y con mejor asistencia, sus notas suben. Importantly, the students also begin to learn about natural, healthy food. As they started to grow their own vegetables, they became more interested in following a healthy diet instead of eating the typical fast food they had eaten before. In fact, the eatable indoor wall in Stephen's classroom produces enough food to feed healthy meals to 450 students. The students can even sell some of their vegetables to local shops. Some of his older students have worked as employees of a new company as technicians, creating green walls for other schools around the country. De manera importante, los alumnos también empiezan a aprender sobre la comida sana y natural. A medida que empezaron a cultivar su propia verdura, se interesaron cada vez más en seguir una dieta sana en lugar de comer la típica comida rápida que habían comido antes. De hecho, el muro interior comestible en la clase de Steven produce suficiente comida para dar de comer comidas sanas a 450 alumnos. Los alumnos pueden incluso vender algunas de sus verduras a las tiendas locales. Algunos de sus alumnos más mayores han trabajado como empleados de una nueva empresa como técnicos creando muros verdes para otros colegios del país. Questions. What effect did Stephen's project have on attendance of his classes and why? What effect did the project have on his students' eating habits? Stephen began his project with older students, but he now teaches younger students too. He believes young people ought to start learning about healthy diets as early as possible so that they don't pick up bad habits which are then difficult to change. Steven empezó su proyecto con alumnos mayores, pero él ahora enseña a alumnos jóvenes también. Él cree que la gente joven debería empezar a aprender sobre la dieta sana, saludable, tan pronto como sea posible, de modo que ellos no cojan malos hábitos que luego sean difíciles de cambiar. Many of Stephen's students have special educational needs or are homeless. Stephen's project has really affected them. They have learned lessons that will help them throughout their lives. They have learned about responsibility. They have also realized that they'd better eat well if they want to stay healthy. And finally, they've learned that you don't have to be a farmer out in the country to grow plants. Anybody can do it, but you must believe that you can make a difference. By teaching all of this, Stephen Ritz is making a massive difference to the lives of his students. Muchos de los alumnos de Stephen tienen necesidades educativas especiales o no tienen hogar. El proyecto de Stephen les ha afectado mucho. Ellos han aprendido lecciones que les ayudarán a lo largo de sus vidas. Ellos han aprendido sobre la responsabilidad. También se han dado cuenta de que es mejor comer bien si ellos quieren permanecer sanos. Y finalmente han aprendido que no tienes que ser un granjero en el campo para cultivar plantas. Cualquiera puede hacerlo, pero debes creer que puedes marcar la diferencia. Enseñando todo esto, Stephen Rees está marcando una gran diferencia en las vidas de sus alumnos. Questions. Why does Stephen think it's important to teach very young students? What are two of the things that Stephen's students have learned from this project? Espero que la actividad os haya servido. Nos vemos en el próximo vídeo. Bye bye.